So when we are talking about collaboration in ML as a domain, it's actually, sometimes it makes a lot of sense to define what kind of stage, at what stage of the collaboration we are talking about. Because you may know this, being a data scientist and being a data analyst can mean widely different things. And the same thing applies to also a machine learning project. The collaboration at the beginning of an ML project looks significantly different than the collaboration at the end of the project lifecycle. So for example, Gradio does an amazing job around like sharing the results and collaboration. Like once you have some kind of model that you want to share with others. My experience probably comes more from the earlier stages of model pipeline, where you're just beginning and trying to understand what the problem is in the first place. And we've seen it happen among our users, just like seeing how they are working in notebooks, because notebooks tend to be this first prototyping environment, the first go-to place where you go to do some kind of exploratory programming to see what kind of data set you even have and what are the things that you could do with it. What we have seen is that even though most of the work that machine learning engineers or data scientists do, even though it becomes, let's say, 70, maybe 80% of time, something they are spending working on alone, those remaining 20 to 30% make all the difference. And in these examples, I like to actually look at some other industries where the collaboration model might have evolved already, and we are seeing we can just take some inspiration from those places. First one being just like general writing. You probably all remember how we were all writing documents in Microsoft Word, and once we were finished, just package it, send it over in an email, and then after final 1, final 2, final 3, like all these like final 15.doc, like you finally managed to have something you could work with. This radically changed with Google Docs. And you can probably imagine that the first thing that writers, like people who actually like had the title of like writer in their role, they just look at it and just be like, no, I don't want any kind of collaboration. I don't want people like behind my back, like looking over my shoulder, what I'm typing on a computer, because I'm in a space I don't want anyone to be dealing with while in my flow. But this is not the collaboration we are talking about. The collaboration happens once you have the first draft ready, like once you want to send it to someone and you want to hear their early feedback. And we have seen this transformation happen not just with document writing, we have seen it in design, for example, where people are working with like these huge Photoshop files. Suddenly like Figma came along and you could collaborate in real time on your prototypes and design UIs. And even though you are still spending most of your time working deep down, like in a deep flow stage, just like by yourself, there is this moment where you just ask for feedback and just reach out to someone. It's like, hey, does it make sense to you? And this is the same thing that we are seeing in the early stages of a model lifecycle, where we're doing lots of exploration. When you are working in a notebook, you probably notice this yourself. Actually, a huge number of your notebooks don't end up looking pretty good. They are pretty much just like quick experiments which are thrown away and you move on to something else. And the reason for this is that there is like what we are really experiencing is like fast iteration cycle. And we just need to do some work, do some querying, do some analysis, quickly ask for feedback, go back, do another iteration of what we are working on. And that's where the collaboration starts to play significant, because if you don't do this, like imagine that you have your model that you've been training for 2 days, and then you send an email to someone, and then suddenly you have like model number 15, and that goes into production. That's going to be super inefficient compared to having this early feedback and super fast iteration cycle that this like new generation of tools which allow for real-time collaboration allow you to do.